Hello everyone, and today we're back into another Loomian Legacy Top 5. And today we're going to be ranking the top 5 pre-evolutions in all of Loomian Legacy. So yeah, these are the top pre-evolution Loomians in all of the games. So yeah, let's get right into it right now. But before we do that, we are doing another giveaway. This is a Gamma Christmas Craytal, and you can only get these on Christmas, so these are rather hard to get now. But I'm going to give one of these away. These are the stats, these are the abilities, these are the UPs, and yeah, if you say Gamma Christmas Craytal in the chat, I will accept Gamma Craytal because it'll just make it easier. You have a chance to get a number, and then we spin that in the wheel, and if that number is landed, you will win a Gamma Christmas Craytal. So, good luck. Let's get into the top 5. So, number 5 on the list, it's actually going to be Pwuff. Now, it was either going to be Pwuff or Bezeldu. I wasn't sure which one to pick out of the two, but I decided to go with Pwuff. I don't currently have a PvP one. I accidentally deleted it from my boxes like a fool, but yeah, so I only have this. But I have used it in PvP before, and it is awesome. It is very good, mainly because it is a water poison. Water poison is very good as a typing, because Toxic can actually get rid of poison barbs, which makes it pretty scary. Plus, it can't get poisoned itself. And what you could basically do is set up the poison, and then you could spam Rejuvenate. That is basically the strategy with Pwuff. You could also run Icicle Traps if you want to. You could even run an attacking move like Venom Chomp and Tsunami, so you're not completely provoke bait, although it really does do well with poison. You basically need the poison stall with Pwuff. That's how it does good. And it's so tanky. Has such good numbers. It is so tanky on both sides. That's why Pwuff is so OP. And Sharp Edges can actually chip melee attackers. And that's why Pwuff is in the top 5 over Bezeldu. Even though Bezeldu, I think, could be a better attacker compared to Pwuff, Pwuff with those Sharp Edges nails it over the top. Pwuff is definitely one of the top pre-evolutions in all of Loomian Legacy. So yeah, it's here, number 5 on the list. And it definitely does pretty well for itself. So, yeah. And number 4 on the list, it's actually going to be Copperage. And Copperage is awesome. It has pretty solid abilities. It can run combative, it can run oxidize, it can run playful. I recommend playful if you want to run one for 2v2s, but I run oxidize because I am a melee defensive Copperage. This thing with bulk up can be very tanky. I mean, this lives a Himber's Yeti's Wrath at +1 without it even getting down half health. And what makes Copperage so good is Driving's Force. You spam Driving's Force, you have barbs and poison barbs on the field set up by another Loomian. It could either be Serenite, it could be Lumello, it could be Dorgo. Set up those barbs, go into your Copperage, and then you spam Driving's Force. And boy, you do a lot of damage with Copperage. The reason why Copperage is a better Driving's Force user compared to Oxydrake, even though Oxydrake does more damage, the problem is that it's not bulky enough without Drop of Youth. And plus, its range bulkiness is definitely nowhere near as par compared to Copperage. Copperage is so much better on the range side, and that's why it's the better Driving's Force user out of Oxydrake. That's why it's good. Copperage is probably one of the best Driving's Force users in the game, probably other than Wobblisk. I think Wobblisk is the best in the game, but that's besides me. Plus, it has Rejuvenate, so yeah. Number 3 on the list is actually going to be Makoro. And this thing is amazing. This is definitely the bulkiest pre-evolution on the melee side. 71 health, which is a lot for a pre-evolution, and 101 melee defense. You heard that correctly. A pre-evolution has 101 melee defense. And it has a move called Body Crash. So yeah, this thing is definitely the bulkiest pre-evolution on the melee side. even if you have defensive priority Odasho, this thing is still bulkier on the melee side. It can live a Timber Thrash from a Tatsub. I know that's not in the footage, but you can live a Timber Thrash from a Tatsub at +0. And look at this Mutagon. Mutagon, the best Loomian in the game, does 7 damage. 7. There's Timber Thrash, and there's Tatsub. It's a life drain. But yeah, it does have solid range defense. But if you could set up a few braces, it is OP. And since it has Rejuvenate, and it could also run coverage. You can run Frost Beam to be very good. You could also run other moves like Maroon if you want to hit Seer Knight. So yeah, there's a bunch of different moves you could also run on this thing. But this thing works best with Body Crash, Brace, Rejuvenate. It is so good, and it's definitely one of the best melee tanks in the game. And it's one of the few pre-evolutions that's actually better than its main evolution, Sarkame. And that's why Body Crash is in the number 3 slot. Number 2 onto the list, it's actually going to be Raburn. Now I know what you're thinking. Why is Raburn over Makoro? This thing has lower health and lower melee defense. Well, there's actually a couple reasons why Raburn is higher than Makoro. Makoro is amazing. There's no doubt about that. It has barbs. Raburn has barbs. It's a barb setter. And it's actually pretty solid. And with Terrifying, actually lowers the opponent's melee defense, which does put it better over the edge. It puts it better over the long run because they are at -1 hitting you instead of Loomians at +0 hitting you. And plus, it has Slap Down. It can get rid of items. It can actually Flaming Kick and do some massive damage. It has Body Crash, just like Makoro, and do a ton of damage. Like I said, it's also a Barbs user, meaning that you could set up multiple layer of Barbs and do a lot of work with it. And just like Makoro, this thing is really, really tanky. And even though, and it does have Burrow for setup, although I wouldn't really recommend it. I think having Slapdown and the other moves are better because this is mainly there as a swap. Place a couple barbs down, swap out, and then also come in the late game and destroy with Body Crash. That's what Raburn is good for, and it's really good at that role. Raburn is definitely the second best pre-evolution in the game, but it is leagues away from number 1. I think we all know who the number 1 pre-evolution is in all of Loomian Legacy. So, yeah. I don't think anyone's going to be surprised with the number 1 answer because, yeah, number 1 is used by every other team. Every other pre-evolution is almost never used. So, let's get right to it because the best pre-evolution in Loomian Legacy is Odasho. This thing is one of the few pre-evolutions that are actually used on teams. It's because of one thing. Because if you can look at its health and defenses, it doesn't look high at all. Until you keep its ability in mind. Defensive priority. It increases its melee defense and range defense by +1. And combining that with Drop of Youth, Sap Plant, Barb Setter, you could set up Poison Barbs, Pestilence, and Dodge, you are suddenly unstoppable. And yes, Provoke is a thing. I do understand that you could run Provoke. But how about Return to Sender? You could use Return to Sender and nuke range attackers. So yeah, it can run Return to Sender. It can also run Hypnotize. You can run Pharaoh Blast to heal your teammates in 2v2s. Odasho has so many moves, and that's why it's the best pre-evolution in the game. Probably the best defense. It could set up Sap Plant and Poison Barbs. It could set up Pestilence. It could heal teammates in 2v2s. It can also use Return to Sender to destroy range attackers after getting provoked. That's the reason why Odasho is number 1. It's definitely the best pre-evolution in all of Loomian Legacy, and it's not even close. I mean, it's completely stalling down this whole team. This guy's whole team is getting completely stalled down by it, which is just pretty crazy to think of, considering that Odasho is only a candy bar. It's literally only a gumdrop of candy. So, yeah, Odasho, the best pre-evolution in all of Loomian Legacy. So yeah, remember, If you say Gamma Christmas Craytal in the comments, I will give you a number and you will have a chance to win. Hope you guys enjoyed this not tier list, top 5, and I will see y'all all later. Bye-bye!